Hey guys, it's Stacy from My Petite Garden. Welcome back. So in this video, we're going to be doing the Q&A that I mentioned in my community post on YouTube. A subscriber actually suggested that I do a Q&A so that you guys can get to know me a little bit better. So I thought it was a great idea. I asked you guys if you have any questions, whether plant related or not, to ask me so I can answer them for you guys on this video. So I'm gonna scroll through the comments with the questions that you guys have, and I'm gonna try to go through most of them. If we can't get through all of them, I'm really sorry. Maybe we could do another one if you guys have any more questions. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to my community post. And I didn't really get a chance to look through all of the questions yet, so I'm seeing some of them for the first time as well. Okay? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Oh, this is not in any order. Okay. Oh, actually, I might be able to filter them. Okay. So I'm gonna start from the oldest question, like the person who asked it first. Okay. AG asked, and I'm just gonna read off the YouTube usernames. AG asked, how and when did you discover your love for plants? So my father is actually also a plant collector. He's been collecting plants since I was a little kid, and I remember that in our home we used to always have plants around, and at the time I definitely did not appreciate it. I used to think it was so annoying that there were so many plants around. It was in the bathroom, on the walls in the living room. So I didn't come to appreciate it until I moved to my own place and I had like a space that I wanted to decorate. And I started off with some succulents before I got into houseplants. And then there was also a period of time about 2 years ago when my grandfather passed away that was when I think I really started relying on plants to kind of help me through it a little bit. As weird as it may sound, it actually did help a lot in terms of therapy to get me through a hard time. So that was when I really started to appreciate and start collecting and loving plants. Okay, Kimberly Barnes asked, I want to start transitioning some of my plants to semi-hydroponics. So she listed a whole bunch of questions. So I'm gonna go through some of these and see if I've already touched upon them in my semi-hydro video. If I have, I'm just gonna skip through it. What was your reason for switching to semi-hydro? So personally for me, I was kind of just interested in testing out this growing medium. I saw people trying it out and it seemed like a lot of plants were doing really well in it. So I thought I'd try it out for myself. And the other thing was the fungus gnats. I feel like if not anything, fungus gnats is probably a problem that is consistent for me. So being able to switch over to semi-hydro actually does help quite a bit with fungus gnats. However, I can say that it does not completely eliminate the problem. But it does help, and I think that is also one of my biggest reasons for switching. Oh, and also because it's a lot less messy. With soil, it does get messy. With semi-hydro, I find it a much cleaner process overall. She asked, how long did it take you to transition your plants? How slow should you transition your plants to semi-hydro? I didn't completely transition all of my plants, so I just do them here and there whenever I feel like it. There's really no thought process really to it. As far as how slow you should, if you're just starting off, I would definitely recommend to just do it slow, like maybe 1 or 2 plants, so you can kind of see how you like it and how your plants are doing, so you can just keep an eye on it, and then maybe you can transition more as time goes on. She asked, what do you do when you first bring a plant home that's in soil? And what do you do with a plant that has come to you bare root but has obviously been grown in soil? It depends on the plant, really. When I bring a plant home that has soil, or if I receive a plant that's in soil, if I have experience with the type of plant growing in semi-hydro, I might switch it over, but probably not immediately. I'll probably let it adjust to my home first and then decide from there. If it's doing well in soil, there's a chance that I might just keep it in soil. If it's in bare root, I would probably, depending on the plant again, if I have experience with it, I'll put it in semi-hydro. Because the plant is already bare root, I find it a lot easier for me to put it into semi-hydro just because I don't have to clean the roots and stuff. So it really depends. What plants would you never transition to semi-hydro? Personally, I don't think I would ever transition any type of cacti or succulent. I don't know. For me, I just feel like they will do a lot better in soil or some sort of bonsai mix. Mia's Natural Habitat asked, what do you do for a living? How many plants do you have? What is your favorite plant or plants, and how old are you? So I work in finance for a healthcare company here in New York City. So what I do for a living is probably just dealing with spreadsheets and numbers all day. So this gives me a nice kind of balance between my day job and, you know, my hobby. How many plants do you have? I honestly have not counted my plants in a really, really long time. I broke 100 a long time ago, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably closer to 200 than I am to 100 at this point, but I have not done any sort of count recently. What is your favorite plant or plants? I probably do not have a favorite plant. Plants, I love my Hoyas. If I were to choose, you know, one type of plant to grow, it'll probably be Hoyas. Mostly because they do well for me, and I find them very succulent-like. So as far as care goes, it's a little less fussy than my tropical plants, my aeroids that need a lot of TLC. How old are you? I am 34. A lot of you guys have told me you thought I was in my 20s. Nope. I am not. All right. Meilani asked, what direction do your windows face? My windows in my bedroom face east, and then my living room windows is L-shaped, so some of it faces east and some of it faces southeast. Sorry. Joanna Aldu asked, what are your fastest growing Hoyas, and do you plan on switching all your houseplants to leca? My fastest growing Hoyas are definitely going to be my Hoya carnosas. I feel like naturally they grow a lot faster, and I feel like that could be why they're more readily available. In terms of, do I plan on switching all my houseplants to leca? Probably not, because a lot of my plants are doing really well in soil, so I don't think I would mess with that. If something is doing well, I usually tend to just leave it how it is. Do you, Kyla Manlapaz asks, do you use any other nutrients or fertilizers for your plants? Aside from the ones that I showed you guys in my in one of my vlog videos, no, those are the only ones. I do add earthworm castings to my soil mix, so that's also another form of nutrients. I feel like they work really well. RPS asked, more Ollie please. How old is he and when did you get him? He is so cute. So he is gonna be 5 years old in August, and I've had him for about 5 years now. He is a very adorable little pup. Ree asked, how do you clean flusher plants in an enclosed glassware? So I mentioned this in my semi-hydro video. If it's in an enclosed glassware where there's no holes or anything like that for drainage, more than likely you're gonna have to probably pour everything out and just rinse it and clean it from there. So that's one of the downsides to having a glass container with no drainage. Yuri Garcia asks, how do you obtain most of your Hoyas? I get them from everywhere. Facebook, Etsy, nurseries, online shops. I just kind of do a lookout for, whatever new plants people have or things like that when I have time to check. Sue Cooley asks, what is all the hype about LECA? Why are people switching over, and what are the pros and cons? I think, yes, there is some sort of hype with LECA, but I think it's just a personal preference how you want to grow your plants. Some people prefer to go soilless, but it's just something if you want to try out, you definitely can, but you don't have to go with the hype if you don't want to. As far as the pros and cons, I mentioned this in my semi-hydro video as well, but I mentioned it for myself personally, the pros and cons and why I switched over some of my plants. For me, it's more just testing it out and seeing if some plants will do better in soil or LECA. Okay, Angie Martinez asks, any tips on top dressing? How to check soil moisture with it and how to prevent algae? The top dressing that I only use top dressing on my plants that are in soil. So I just use natural aquarium rocks as top dressing. They work really well for me and they're inexpensive. I get mine from chewy.com. So I've always gotten it from there. I get the same few bags from them. So if you're looking for top dressing, just type in natural aquarium rocks and I think some stuff will pop up for you. How to check soil moisture with top dressing and how to prevent algae. Algae I've never experienced with potting soil. I have experienced it with semi-hydro, the ones that are in enclosed containers. That you would just have to clean with flushing, and I just clean it out when I see the buildup is starting to get a little bit much. As far as soil, measuring soil moisture with top dressing, I am at a point where I can kind of tell when my plants are dry by just lifting it and seeing how heavy or light the pot is. And also I kind of have a schedule going now, so I know about how many days in between I would have to water my plants again. If you are not familiar with how and when to water your plants, you should use a moisture meter. So basically they're really cheap. It's like a little meter up top with a little metal rod, and then you just stick it in your soil and it'll tell you the range of the moisture in your soil, so you'll get a better grasp of whether it needs watering or not. It's a great tool if you don't already have one. Ned Huggen Bjork asked, what are your favorite plants and how did you get into... Oh, there's a lot of questions. Okay. What is your favorite plants? As I mentioned, my favorite type of plant is probably Hoyas. How did you get into YouTube? Honestly, it was just something that I finally did during the quarantine because I have a lot more time at home, which allows for me to be able to make videos. I've been wanting to, do some sort of videos for my followers on Instagram, but because I never had the time to, I never did anything. So during the quarantine, I had the chance to, and I felt like, you know what, let's just do it. What is the best and worst things about having plants? Oh my god, I love this question. The best thing is probably because for me personally, it really does kind of lift up my mood when I see my plants, when I'm around my plants, taking care of my plants. It's all something I really enjoy doing, and even learning about them as well. The worst thing will have to be traveling. It's almost like like a kid that you have to worry about who's gonna take care of them while you're gone on vacation. So when we were still traveling, my parents would come over to our home and watch Ollie, and then I would have them also take care of the plants, since my dad is somewhat familiar with plants. Okay. How do you choose new planters? Do you go for a specific style or just the ones you like? So I actually really like terracotta pots, and if I had a choice, I would always pick terracotta for my soiled plants. For my semi-hydro, the cash pose, I actually just go by whatever I see, and if I like it, I'll pick it up. There's no real rule that I play by in terms of planters. What are your plans for your channel in the future? What are your thoughts on being in social media and being a content creator? I don't really have any set plans for the channel. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing right now and see what happens. My thoughts on being in social media, I don't know. There's not much thought that I've put into it, really. I just put out content that I personally enjoy and like, and I guess it just comes organically for me. The last thing I want is to force myself to put out any type of content that I don't feel like putting out. So as long as I'm still enjoying it, I'll keep continuing doing it. Linda Ruiz asks, what precautions do you take to avoid pests? So the pests that I deal with are definitely going to be fungus gnats. I don't really consider them a pest, it's just something that's always around. It's like a nuisance, but they don't really do much in terms of harming my plants. So for fungus gnats, I probably would, you know, try to water less or try to keep the soil a little drier. Use those yellow sticky tapes. I have some of them around. Those work really well for trapping adults, which then would reduce the amount of eggs. And then when I see them flying around, I'll use my Castile soap spray just to kill them. And then the other two types of pests that I have dealt with is spider mites and mealybugs. Mealybugs are just, I actually rather deal with spider mites than mealybugs, and I just don't know why mealybugs, for me, it's really hard to get rid of. I would use the alcohol swab and swab them, and then they'll just come back. So spider mites, I spray them with the Castile soap mix again with a little bit of neem oil, and I just give them like a few sessions of spraying, and that usually gets rid of them. Preventatively, I would use my Castile soap as a preventative measure. I just like to spray them around some plants that I know are more prone to pests, and that usually helps. Oh, and a great preventive measure is to just keep on top of cleaning your plant leaves and things like that. So showering your plants is something that I do now versus before I did not do it. So that's something you can do as well. Okay, Eden Jung asked, how do you get Hoyas to flower indoor? Do you ever feel overwhelmed that one day your plants will get bigger and you may run out of space? That's like a nightmare I have. Do you keep your plants indoor all year round? How long have you been collecting plants for? Okay, so how do you get Hoyas to flower indoor? I don't do anything specific to get them to flower. They just do their own thing. I don't do anything special to get them to flower. I just let them be. They'll flower when they want to. Do you ever feel overwhelmed that one day your plants will get bigger and you may run out of space? Yes. Actually, it's not even that. With so many plants, you are bound to feel overwhelmed at times, and I do too, you know. But at the end of the day, I really enjoy this little oasis here, so you do what you have to do to keep them happy. I ran out of space a long time ago, so so yeah, you find space. when you run out of space, you find space. Do you keep your plants indoor all year round? Yes, I do. I do not have any outdoor space here in my apartment, so they do stay indoor. How long have you been collecting plants for? I would say maybe close to 3 years now, collecting plants, like seriously collecting them. Alright, so hopefully I've answered most of your questions. If you have any more questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll definitely go through them like usual and try to answer them for you guys, or maybe save them for the next Q&A. Alright, so please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for your support. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.